his mom messaged me and she was like, he wants to get married. He says, let's get married. And I'm like, is he kidding? And she's like, no, like he wants to get married. And this is all via text. Hello and welcome to another episode of More Than an Inmate's Girlfriend. Today is going to be a little different. I'm actually trying to have the courage to make this episode and have the ability to get through it and talk about the things I want to talk about. It's just going to be me and you today. I don't have a guest. Purposely, I don't have a guest. I have a few pre-recorded already. I will be releasing in the new year, but I really wanted to make this one solo and share my thoughts on what's going on with Nick and I and the feelings that I went through over the past month and my hopes for the future with it. So not a super happy episode, but definitely needed. It is Christmas morning. I am not in Nebraska with Nick and I'm going to talk to you about it. Before we get into that, I just want to say another thank you to everyone who's listening, sharing the podcast, telling all your loved ones and family and friends about it. I'm so incredibly grateful for that. So thank you. It's a wild ride and I don't know what'll happen with this podcast or what it's going to be in 2025, if it'll be in 2025. But to everyone that's reached out to me, I've met a lot of strangers. Over these past few months, I've met a lot of people that have given me the strength to get through the things that I've gotten through so far with Nicholas. And I do believe that everything happens for a reason. And that reason I may not know what it is or why, but I'm trusting the process, following my heart, trusting the process and seeing where it will lead me. And my faith in my relationship is what will get me through. And even though I feel like this is just the beginning for us in terms of our challenges, I still feel what is happening is what is meant to be happening. And I'm so grateful for your support and the support of our family and friends that are helping us get through this. So before we start, just please continue liking and sharing the podcast, telling everybody about it. The more people that get to see this, the more people that get to hear it, the further reach we have and the more impact we can have on the system and the more impact we can have on our loved ones and our ability to help them, but also giving other people in our situation the ability to process the things that they need to process, to not feel so alone, and to understand and relate to the stories that we are sharing about our relationships and how lovely they are and the challenges that they face and how we get through them. So super important. From the feedback that I've gotten from people that I don't even know, which I love, the feedback has been nothing but really good, and just super grateful that we're doing this and that there is an outlet like this. It's kind of a unique type of podcast, and I do think that people are really appreciating it and enjoying it. So enough about that. We can get right into the topic today, which is going to be about weddings in prison. So they being the administration, have stopped Nicholas and I from seeing each other. So not only have they cut off our phone access, our messaging access, they've cut off messaging to my family from him. They've cut off messaging to his family to him. They've completely alienated and isolated him without reason, really. They're not really giving reason. And although I'm still an approved visitor, he has had no write-ups in years. I was still denied visit. So I was denied visit. Preemptively, I was also denied a wedding ceremony. Spoiler alert, we were going to get married today. Today would have been our wedding day, December 25th, Christmas. It should have been our wedding. And instead, I'm here, home, very far away from him and unable to see him because the administration has decided to not let me see him even. So rewind. What happened? Why are you getting married? We always knew. And I know this sounds crazy to a lot of people. And I'm reminded of in high school, there was like a substitute teacher And I remember, like, I don't even remember his name. I don't remember anything about him at all. But I remember he had this really cute story where his fiance and him, well, they were dating at the time, they weren't engaged. They traveled the world together and they made this video, and everywhere they went around the world, they took pictures with different letters, and it spelled out, "We always knew." And then the last one was the W, and they did it back home where we were from. And they took the picture with the W, and then she walked away, and then the family and friends or whatever spelled out, "Will you marry me?" with that W. And for some reason, that whole story really sticks out to me, and I can relate to it a lot when it comes to Nicholas and I. I knew week one. And it's crazy because we were just pen pals. I'd never even heard his voice. I didn't know anything about him. Well, actually, I'd stalked him a little bit on the Google. But other than that, we really didn't know each other. And within the first few days, he says that he thought I was AI. I knew. And I think he thought I was AI because he knew. We always just knew that we were done, that it was us. Whatever the circumstances around my life at the time, the circumstances around his life at the time, regardless of what we were for a while, we knew who we were to each other. We knew when we'd found each other. Just like I felt this unexplainable pull to reach out to him when I did. And the whole series of events was very odd. I just knew. And it's hard to explain the feeling. Someone actually who has become someone that I very much trust and admire sent me a sermon yesterday, and I listened to it. It spoke about waiting for your partner and waiting for God to present your partner. And I really feel like this was and is what's happening. And I know it sounds crazy, but I really do feel that. I always knew. So we always knew. And we had planned to do it in July 2025. We'd spoken about it. We knew for a long time that we were going to get married eventually. He is a lifer. It's not a huge priority because we know we're supposed to be together. What we wanted to do was in July, have his family, my family, go visit him. We could get married. We wanted his mom to be the officiator, and we wanted to organize it all and whatever. And then we want to take one big family picture. He hadn't had a family picture in a while. He hasn't seen his family on one side for a while. So we wanted kind of like this big kind of reunion and opportunity for me to meet them too. They're in a different state. And yeah, it was just going to be this wonderful experience. It was going to be in July, and it would give time for me to bring my mom up to meet him so my mom could see him and meet him. And that's what we had planned. And then he was talking to his mom, I guess, one day, and his mom messaged me and she was like, you know, he wants to get married. He says, let's get married. I have to find it. Actually, me and his mom talk quite a bit, so it's probably way up there in the messages, and I didn't screenshot it, but it was a really cute moment. And I was like, really? And yeah, he said, let's get married at the December visit. And I'm like, is he kidding? And she's like, no, like he wants to get married. And this is all via text. And I'm like, okay, baby, are you sure you want to do that? You ready for it now? And he was like, yeah, why not? Let's do it. Why not confirm our love at a time when nobody believes in our love and the administration is actively trying to separate us? Why don't we just make that commitment to us? So I said, yeah, through his mom. His mom was the one, which is ironic because his mom has always been a staple in our relationship, and she's always been super supportive and kind towards me. She's always been really accepting, and for her to be the one that mediates, I guess, the conversation of us getting married, I thought that was really cute, and I'm grateful for that moment. And yeah, from then it was like, okay, what do we have to do? My initial feelings were just, I was excited. I knew that this was going to happen eventually. It was really rushed. I wasn't planning on getting married in 2024. If you would have told me at the beginning of the year, at New Year's last year, that I would be in this situation, there's no way. But here we are. So yeah, we decided we were going to do it. So we had to go through the process, and everything went really smoothly. And Nick was very on top of it. People that are dating men that are incarcerated or who have married men in prison, you'll understand me when I say that there's really not a lot that they can do to make it special. There's just really not. It's, in our case, in a blue room, and it's very impersonal. It's 5 minutes. It's nothing to rave about. You still have to follow the dress code. Nick still has to wear khakis. But regardless of that, he really made an effort to show me how important it was for him. So he wanted to write his own vows. His friends were going to be the witnesses, and one of the friends wanted to say something, have a speech prepared for us, because he watched us. He watched our love. He watched Nick fall in love with me, and he wanted to say that at our wedding and talk about it, which I thought was really special. He reached out to everybody he needed to reach out to make sure that they all knew that we were getting married. So he contacted visiting, he contacted religion, he spoke to his caseworkers, whatever. He spoke to them all and was like, listen, you have a month's notice. We know it's on Christmas. Please let us know if there's a problem. Everybody came back saying, yeah, it's fine. Just fill out the paperwork. You're good, right? So I went to the county, got everything going. Then I went to the prison and I was like, I need this signed and notarized. The guy was really nice and he was like, sure. And Nick had coordinated it all. He'd notified everyone that needed to be notified. They were like, hey, come back and pick it up. So I left with a girlfriend. We went out for lunch, came back. It was all signed. This is too good to be true. I told him it was too good to be true. It just seemed surreal. And we were kind of in this bubble of joy and happiness, but outside of our bubble was a lot more to process. And I remember being at the airport, and I remember one time Nick saying, I'm sorry. And I was like, sorry for what? And he had me crying at the Denver airport. He said, I'm sorry that our wedding day one day will be what it is. And he's like, I'm a lifer. I've been here since I was a child, basically. I always knew that if I were to get married one day, what it would look like. I've had years to prepare for it. I already knew that that was what it was going to be. I wasn't sure if I would or wouldn't get married, but I always knew what it would entail. I never realized what it would entail for you and the sacrifices that you are making to love me until I spoke to my sister. And my sister said that when the day comes that you do get married, that she feels bad for me. And all the emotions that I hadn't been expressing to him because I did not want him to feel bad. The man did not commit a crime. The man does not deserve to be given a life sentence for what allegedly happened. He did not murder anyone. He didn't kill anybody. Look him up. You can read about it. It's not his fault that he's in the situation that he is. For whatever reason, he's there, and God knows why. But having him acknowledge that and the reality for me, my emotions just poured out of me in that moment because it's sad. It's not how you plan your wedding day. Not that I ever really planned it, like if we're being honest. I have friends that we would talk about, do you choose the man or the kids? If you had to choose between the man and the kids, what would you choose? And most of my friends say they wanted babies, so they'll choose babies over the man. And unwavering, I always chose the man. And I was not about to settle for anything but perfect for me. I'm not looking for perfect. I don't believe there is perfect in the world, but I knew that there was someone, or I didn't know, but I wasn't willing to compromise on anything when it came to my relationship. Shocker here. I come from a broken home and I was not about to experience anything that my mother experienced. But not only that, I just wasn't willing to compromise on my relationship. I'd worked very hard to be who I am, both emotionally, psychologically. I've worked very, very hard. I wasn't about to live a life that wasn't with someone that I wasn't 100% sure of. So before I met Nicholas, I was not interested really in getting married. I always saw marriage to me was about letting your family know that you're taken care of regardless of what happens. That's what it felt like to me. Like if I were to get married, it would be to tell my mom, like, Mom, I'm safe. I have someone who will love me unconditionally. I've found this person that will take care of me. But then you grow up and realize that you can take care of yourself. And then it just doesn't really become that important, right? To me anyways, at the time. But that doesn't take away from the fact that it is so sad. My wedding was going to be in a blue room with guards with pepper spray ready to pounce at any minute that they see something that they don't like. My witnesses are both convicted murderers. They're lovely people. And I mean, I haven't met them in person, but from what I know about them and how much they've supported me and Nicholas, regardless, I don't even know them. And they're about to be my witnesses to my wedding. My mom was not going to be there. His mom was not going to be there. His dad was not going to be there. Nobody that loved us throughout our life was going to be there. It was going to be 5 minutes. It was going to be very impersonal. It was going to be still a 2-hour visit. And then I had to leave. There was nothing special that was going to happen on that day. And it's sad. And I cried a lot with him, without him, with friends, with family. It's a sad day. And I wanted to move on from that sadness because there's a lot of joy with it too. This is someone that I've waited my whole life to find. And I finally found him. And arguably, not everyone gets to find their person. Although some people think that maybe I'm delusional, so be it. Like, you can think what you want. I know myself, and I know that he is the person for me. But I was angry that I'm forced to sacrifice everything else to marry the man. And I almost feel silly for all those years ago choosing the man. It's almost like God laughed and said, oh yeah, you want the man, I'll give him to you. But he's going to be incarcerated for life in a different state, and you're going to have to jump through hoops to even have a wedding. And this is what's happening. So not only was I dealing with this overwhelming sadness of the whole situation and what it is, and mourning what I thought my wedding day would be, what I thought the ceremony would be like. Not only was I doing that, and I was actively doing that, and it's not his fault, so I'm not angry at him, but I still have to process those emotions. And I think a lot of people could relate to me who have gone through it, that it is sad. There is a lot of sadness. I would end up in my hotel room at the end of the day alone. And I wanted to record those emotions and explain what that was like, but I can't right now because it's not happening. Back to the story, we thought everything was too smooth. Like, this is too perfect. Everyone's on board. This is weird. Everything's planned out. Everything's good. We have nothing to do left but show up. Then we get notice that the facility is deeming me a threat of some sort. So not only were they deeming me a threat, they were alleging all of these things that were so far from the truth that tore apart my character, that it was more than hurtful to hear. They claimed that I was paying him to be on the podcast. FYI, note to the world, I just started this podcast. It ain't making no money. And I don't even pay him commissary. He does not get money from me for commissary. He has a beautiful family that supports him and has always supported him. He's been blessed. It has been something that we established early on in our relationship, that in order for it to remain authentic, there would be no financial gain on either side. And we've maintained that agreement. It's just what it is. He's fine. He gets food. Maybe he's hungry sometimes, but his parents do help with his hygiene, and he does get food from commissary from them. I do not send him any money at all. So for them to say that I paid him for something is just foolish on their part. If they would just check, they could just look up what I've sent him. Go for it. But just to make that claim is just incredible. And then a bunch of other claims that made no sense and aren't real. They claimed the person that I interviewed before was from Nebraska. Spoiler alert, the woman is not affiliated with anyone from Nebraska. My next two guests are not from Nebraska. I am not asking anybody from Nebraska. There are lovely women that I've met that live in Nebraska that would have wonderful stories to tell. At this point, I fear for their loved ones that are inside because of what they're doing to Nick as a result of this podcast, that I don't want them on here, and I'm not going to ask them, and I won't even bring it up because I don't want anything on their head. I would never be able to sleep at night if what was happening to Nick happened to someone else. Them taking away his family, his friends, the messaging, the phone calls, the visits. It's cruel is what it is, and unnecessary. And they could just have a conversation, and they choose not to. And I don't know if it's because they think that I'm going to leave or that I'll be scared or whatever, but they grossly underestimate our relationship if they think that that's the case. But it is what it is. And I can't do anything about it at this point. They're investigating the threat. I should also elaborate that I've never even gotten a speeding ticket. So quite the threat, apparently, but it is what it is. They denied the visit as well, and we don't know, they didn't say why. I'm still an approved visitor, but they're They've denied the visit despite everything. They denied his father's visit without reason as well. So they just like are alienating him and isolating him. They came back and filled out a form for him with just his father on it and said, oh yeah, here, he is actually approved days before. So his father, it was already notified, wasn't allowed to come in, and then made other plans because that's what you do when you get denied a visit, and they denied his visit. So that's where we're at. So I don't know what the future holds. I know that we've talked, and it's funny because since Nick's appeal was denied and since the lawyer was a minute too late in filing the appeal and it got time barred, since that happened, he was not struggling, but I think it was a hard pill to swallow. He'd worked on that appeal for many, many years and felt very strongly about it and was always thinking that the 8th Circuit would be the one to overturn it. So for him to be time barred when he finally made it to the 8th Circuit was incredibly disappointing, to say the least. And I think he struggled a bit with where to go from here and what to do. And he's an incredibly passionate person that loves very deeply and cares very deeply, but he's very strong also and has a lot of integrity. And that's why he is who he is and he's in the position he's in. And he wasn't sure where to go from here. So when all this happened, it ignited something in him. And I feel like everything happens for a reason. And I said that at the beginning and I'll say that again, because what it has done for him is fueled him. It makes me proud to know him and the man that he is. And I love that because he's now writing, he's now fueled on what he's going to do, not only with his appeal, but with everything that's happening. He's got this rejuvenation that has come over him, which he was struggling to get after that appeal. And that appeal had happened in October. And I would say that both of us, for lack of a better word, became lazy in our relationship, and not with us. Like, we have a very strong relationship, but we kind of became lazy about the outside world. I wasn't really doing all the things that I do. Normally I'm very busy, and he's normally keeps himself very busy. We just like cocooned together after. Didn't really work on our external projects very much. And then the cut contact, all it did was just ignite him and fuel him to do more. You can probably tell as I'm saying this that I have this huge smile on my face because I'm excited for him to have gotten that back. And I know it's at the expense of losing my contact with him, but like I told him, if we're going to make it another 50 years, there's going to be some times where we're not in contact. There's going to be some times where we have struggles. Do I believe that this is going to end gracefully and nicely in the next 2 weeks? No, I don't. I mean, I'd like to think that, but I doubt it. I think that this is just the beginning. I don't know why they have such anger and hatred towards me and why they feel the need to isolate him so severely, but it is what it is, and that's what they're doing. And he's owned by the state, so there's not much I can do, right? Or is there? That's another question. But anyways, I'm really excited for him that he's fueled. I've been refueled as well. Our passions have been reignited, and the time apart has actually not only strengthened our relationship and strengthened our resolve, but also allowed us to go back to the things that we love doing, including this podcast, and work on the things that we need to work on to advocate for him and take care of ourselves. So that's exciting. But going back to the wedding, I don't know when it'll happen, but I know it'll happen one day. And I know I have to be patient, which is not my strong suit. But I will be. I will continue to wait by him and pray that everything will work out, because it will. It will. And I think the kind of love that we have for each other can easily surpass this challenge and whatever else comes next, because it's not going to be easy. He's, like I said, he's a lifer in the state of Nebraska, and there's not many prisons, there's not many wardens, there's not many administration. So this is what it is. I think it's important to, in all of this and all the learning that I've had over this past month, I think it's important to mourn your wedding, because it is sad in a lot of ways. And you're getting a lot taken away. And a lot of people say wait to get married until he gets out. But I don't have that option, because Nick was given a life sentence without the possibility of parole. And the governor has not given clemency in many, 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 many years in Nebraska. So although a possibility one day, we can't hold out hope for that. So if we want to solidify our love and ensure that we are committed to each other the way that we want to be, it's through marriage. But it's important to mourn it. Mourn it, feel it. The other thing that I want to talk about around it was the shame around it. A lot of people can be either supportive of you or not. I've had both. I've had some people realize that it's not their monkeys, that it has nothing to do with them, that my relationship doesn't affect them in any way, and they are supportive of me as a human being and someone that they've known for very many years. I've had other people that don't and didn't support it and are no longer in my life as a result of that, or did support it and don't anymore when they realized that it was sticking around, that it wasn't just some fling, that he wasn't just some temporary pause in the chapter of my life, that he was real and that he was sticking around. But the shame around telling people that you're marrying someone in a prison who's serving a life sentence, that's real and it affects you. And you surround yourself by people that love and understand you. And I'm really, really grateful for the people that I've surrounded myself that are in situations similar to mine. Not very many are with lifers, but there are some. And it's so important to surround yourself with those people, because as soon as you say something like that, they're supportive of you because they get it and they understand the relationship that you have. There's a lot of people that don't. And even my friends that are supportive of me, I was ashamed to tell them that I was getting married. So you have this beautiful day that you're supposed to, right? Like your wedding day is supposed to be this beautiful day. And then you feel this sadness because every part of the wedding is getting taken from you other than the man and the actual wedding marriage license. And then you have the shame and you have this swirl of emotions because you're feeling joy and happiness and shame and sadness all in the same time. And it's important to communicate that, and it's important to process those feelings before you get to that wedding day and understand that that's what you're feeling, for the people that don't quite understand what they were feeling when they were feeling it. But a lot of us don't share with the majority of our world because we're afraid of the pushback, and we're afraid of the judgment, and we're afraid of the stigma around it, and we're afraid of it just from the relationship. And now you put in the marriage, like you're marrying him, like you're solidifying it, you know, it's set in stone. And then people are like, whoa, she's really lost her marbles. And a lot of people would probably think that, and a lot of my friends probably do, and I don't blame them because they're not in my relationship. I'm sad that they feel that way because they should know me better than that. But regardless, moving past those emotions and finding your safety is really important. And I've been lucky that my safety is in my family and in his family and a few select friends that I found safety in, and that I may or may not have been ashamed of telling them and worried that they would change their mind like so many other friends have. And the fact that they did not and they still supported me means a lot. It means that they're there. They trusted my judgment and they understand. For that, I'm grateful. And I think it's important that we create a safe space for ourselves, because these relationships are very difficult from the outside in. I was talking to another friend. I was like, if the event that something happens and we do manage to change a law, or there is clemency, or an appeal works, or something that gets him free, I don't know what our relationship will be like. I have the utmost faith that it'll be fine, but I'm not naive to think that it's going to be super easy, because I'm sure it's not. So we have this beautiful, lovely relationship that actually is quite difficult for most people who've been in long-term relationships. They're really difficult, usually. And Nick and I's relationship is very easy. It's very, very easy. If it was just us, it's very simple. It's the external factors that ruin it all. It's my friends or my not friends. It's the distance. And it's the people housing him that create all the problems for our relationship. So it's an interesting dynamic, but alas, it is what it is. So Nick and I decided to exchange vows today. We did so earlier and they were really beautiful, and I don't have his, but I am going to read out my vows to him on here so that as much as none of you could be there for it, you will have my vows. And I'm going to try not to cry as I speak them. And I will end the episode with these vows. So with that, thank you for listening to me ramble today about my wedding and the feelings around it. And I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. I hope that it was surrounded by love and family and friends. And I know that there's a missing piece to your puzzle right now for those of us that have loved ones that are incarcerated. But being physically there is just a component of it. And know that you're loved from inside. So happy holidays, and I'm looking forward to the new year and what this podcast will lead to. There's some really, really exciting episodes coming up. We interviewed a very good friend of mine who's supposed to run the podcast with me. She's going to talk about what it's like dating someone who is inside for manslaughter. And then I have a 2-part episode with a lovely woman who has been my strength throughout this. I've got to learn her story and her series of unfortunate events that occurred for her. And the strength that she got to get through it is what I'm currently relying on to get through mine. So, and she's an OG, like an OG. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear from her and learn from her story. But with that said, I'm going to end the episode with my vows. So please like, please subscribe, please share with your friends. Let's keep this going. I know I'm not very good on social media, but I appreciate that you guys are sharing it regardless. And that word of mouth is really expanding the reach of this podcast. I've got people lined up from all around the country, so it's exciting. I think you guys are really going to like it. So if you want to be on the podcast, there's already been a few people that I've never met before that have messaged me and want to be on it. And I think it's really wonderful. So please message me on TikTok at More Than an Inmate's GF or on Nick's Facebook at More Than an Inmate. And that's it. I'll end with my vows. My love, my partner, my best friend, and my lifeline. That day when my soul reached out to yours and I didn't understand it or know how to explain it, all makes sense now that we've made it to our first Christmas and what should have been our wedding day. My love for you knows no bounds and sees no bars or space or time. It is eternal and everlasting, passionately loyal, and forever holding on to the man you are and the relationship we've built. We may not know the future and where this life will take us, but my vow to you today is that whatever life throws at us next, we will continue to face it as one. I vow to love you each and every day and beyond, no matter the tightness of your crazy pants or the efforts of your kidnappers. I vow to respect your word and trust your guidance, even if I roll my eyes or try to talk you out of it. I vow to remain faithful and true to you, to continue to be a woman you're proud to stand next to, and never give you a reason to question my unwavering faith in you and in us. I vow to protect your heart fiercely and unequivocally, for my voice to be your comfort, and I will continue to stand by you spiritually until the day I can stand by you physically. This is my promise to you, always and forever, my king. Until next time, bye.